Hi, welcome, Simon here, and hope you're doing well. In this video, I'll be doing a teardown or somewhat a disassemble to kind of show you what is inside of this Dell Vostro 7620. At the same time, I'll walk you through some of the process on how to upgrade maybe the RAM, the hard drive, or maybe changing out the battery. Alright, so first of all, you need to identify the model here, and this is the Dell Vostro 7620, and the model would be P117F or P117F003. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Get yourself a Phillips screwdriver. This is quite a tiny Phillips screw because the screws are a lot smaller. So the screws on the left and the right doesn't come off. So when you kind of unscrew it, you're hearing the click noise. That means you have reached to the max, and just let it be. But the rest of the screws, they will come off. Alright, once you have done that process, let's just go ahead and kind of pry open the back cover. I'm just using my fingernail to get in between that plastic cover and just kind of pry it open. Alright, that's pretty much it. You need to put a little bit of a pressure to pry it open. Now once the back cover is removed, you can see your entire laptop here. Alright, so let's identify some of the things here. At the bottom would be your battery. Okay, this is your CPU fan and the graphics card fan. The heatsink is right here. Here would be your M.2, which is the NVMe for your storage. This here is the 8GB DDR5 Wi-Fi card, keyboard stuff, and the motherboard. Alright, so what I can do is maybe disconnect the battery and show you how to change the battery if you're in need of changing the battery. So make sure that this plastic is removed and slide the battery connector down towards your body. So I'm using my fingernail at the same time. If you have a plastic, what you want to do is you want to push and pull. So I'm using the fingernail to try to pull it down. At the same time, I'm using that to push it. Okay. Alright, pushing and pulling the method. Now the next is to get the Phillips screwdriver. This would be the PH1. That is the size of the Phillips. Let's remove the battery. And the entire battery would just come right off. So if you feel like your battery has a lump or swollen, okay, or maybe the trackpad is not clickable because the battery is pushing from the inside out, then more likely you need to have a battery replacement. Also, if your battery is not holding the charge, that is also an indicator of a battery that needs to be replaced. If you're not sure where to find the battery, go look for the model here, 8F CTC. or maybe on this product here, which it says CN-0P8P1P. all right, and I'll link down in the description below where you can find the replacement part from, maybe from Amazon or eBay, and I'll try to link it down below. And just feel free to subscribe and click the like button if you like the video so far. Okay, now the next step is to remove the M.2 drive. So once you remove the screw, you just slide it to your left. That's how you remove it. Make sure you save the tiny little screw. As you can see, they use a small M.2, which is very tiny here. And this is just an extension bracket. If you prefer to use the full size, then you can have this full size here. Then you do not need to have the extension. You can just remove the entire extension and go directly onto the heatsink. All right, like so. Okay, and you just install it. Now if you want to keep the solid state drive cooler, you do need to have what we call the thermal pads. These are the thermal pad. You need to have the thermal pad, okay, to kind of cool off the solid state drive. All right, the hard drive. So if you're not sure where to buy them, do not afraid. I'll link them down in the description below. You can go ahead and look it up for those. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. Let's talk about the RAM. And for those of you who wants to increase the RAM, this is the DDR5. What you want to do is you just want to push the two clipper away from each other. Push it on both sides. Okay, and then the RAM would just pop right off at 45-degree angle and slide it away from your body. How do you know it's DDR5? If you take a look here, it says 8GB PC5. PC5 stands for DDR5. Okay, now this is pretty much very standard. If you want to remove the heatsink, some of the screw here, you may do that. I'm not sure if I want to, but let's take a look. I just removed the entire plastic. We do not need that. Okay, so I'm not going to remove the motherboard. I don't think I need to, but just want to point it out to you. The speakers here are on the top, as well as the speaker on both sides here at the bottom. Okay, those are your speakers. Maybe that is the subwoofer. I just wanted to remove the heatsink and kind of show you how to apply a new thermal paste if your computer is overheating. All right, so go ahead and disconnect the CPU fan by pulling it down towards the body, and this as well here, slide it down. All right, get your Phillips screwdriver, start removing some of the screws. This one here is a heatsink. The screw do not come off, so when you unscrew and you feel like the clicking sound is there, click click click, then more likely you have reached the maximum and it is ready to be removed. Okay, it looks like there are 6 of them or 7. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. That should do. Some screw here for your fan. All right, so let's see if we can start removing the heatsink, and it just popped right off. As you can see that the thermal paste is still moist, because when I lift it up, you can feel like the thermal paste is somewhat just like an icing on the top. Okay, if you take a closer look, they're just like icing on the top, meaning like a whipped cream is kind of stick together and shoot up. So that tells me that the thermal paste is still fresh, and I'll just leave it as is. But if your thermal paste is all dry, when you lift it up, it will be like all crusty and crumbly that is when you need to clean up. How do you do that? You want to get yourself the what do you call, the alcohol wipes, one of those alcohol wipes, and just wipe it down. Once you have wiped it down, the next step is to get a thermal paste. This is what I recommend to use, the MX4 thermal compound. Put it good amount of it, right? Do not put just a tiny little bit. You want to have a good amount. Take a look at the how Dell apply how much thermal paste that they're so generous on your computer, right? So make sure you apply enough. This is what we call the thermal pads. They are quite thin. I would think this is probably 1.5 millimeter thickness, or maybe 1. You might want to buy. If it's not thick enough, you see some of them are pretty thin and some of them are thick. So what you do is just stack it up. Okay, you can stack up 2 or 3 until the thickness of that. That is what we call the thermal pads. Alright, so we have removed the heatsink, and the next step is you can just remove the what do you call this, CPU fan. Alright, so this is your CPU fan. Wow, they're pretty heavy. It looks solid to me. So the CPU fan is definitely looks solid to me. They're probably really good of dispersing the heat. Alright, I'm not going to remove the motherboard, but as you can see, it's very straightforward. Disconnect all the cables and just strictly remove the motherboard. Now the question is, can you have additional storage? The answer is no. It looks like the M.2, there's only one slot for that. That would be your RAM. It's only 8 gigabytes, but I think the other side of the RAM is pre-installed chipset. Alright, that should be it. If you do find the videos helpful, please smash the like button. Do not forget to do that, and haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye now.